a song, but it'd be shit. I mean, we could make it sound like it's a contemporary record, but it's about nothing. So the songs have to be about something. They have to be true.
Thank you for joining me for another one of my videos. My name is Cliff, and I've been doing a series called 99 Problems But My God Ain't One. I've listed all the videos that I've done on my YouTube channel, and I've marked them in blue here on this computer here. And I have some other ones that I got close in my mind of what I want to do, and they're listed in red. I'm running out of spaces. As you can see, I've done so many. But I do have a spot here, and it's listed at number 38, Who's Supposed to Know? This is what this video is going to be named, Who's Supposed to Know? And I'm going to do it in two parts. And what I'm going to talk about is what Satan does. He actually mocks us in every situation that is going on in this world. And because we are asleep according to him, and of course according to God, who is trying to wake us up, he gives me this information to speak out boastfully about on how Satan tricks us, so you can recognize what's going on in maybe your own life, that things that you have noticed, and maybe make the parallel connection, so you can understand that God is right now saying for you all to wake up and come to him and repent. Okay, I could have listed this video as Not Everyone Goes to Trial, Part 2, or Can We Love Someone Too Much? Can we love the people around us or close to us too much? This video is talking about a situation which is a love triangle between two entertainers. Something that Satan does is he mocks us all the time. And he plays these situations out in actual movies, and just to have his fun. But when he puts it in a movie, he'll change the characters on what they do, or he'll change the plot on what actually happened, how it played out. But this movie, or this movie that I'm going to show you, and the interviews that I'm going to are surrounding the people involved in the real life situation, are going to be quite telling on what I feel actually happened. But I'm going to let you be the judge. I'm going to play as much important tools out here for you actually you come to your own conclusions. Certain people say the person involved actually killed himself, and certain people close to him say he did not kill himself.
Michael's friends say they left his room at about 5 a.m. on November 22nd. Then Paula Yates reportedly called Michael with bad news. Her custody hearing was postponed. She had to stay in London and therefore would not be bringing Tiger Lily to Sydney for the holidays. Upset, Michael called Bob Geldof, begging him to allow the kids to fly to Australia, but Geldof refused. Then an angry Michael made two quick calls. One to his old friend Michelle Bennett, the other to his manager Martha Trout. But in both cases, he was forced to leave messages. Martha retrieved hers just minutes after Michael called.
He said, I don't give a anymore. With anger, I don't give a anymore.
At approximately 10 a.m., a distraught Michael Hutchins left a second message on Martha Trout's answering machine, this time pleading with her to call back. Next, he placed another call to his friend Michelle Bennett.
We talked to her and he said, Michelle, I need to talk to you, can you come over? And she did. She actually came over to the hotel because she only lives like 10 minutes away from the hotel.
Michelle Bennett arrived at Michael's hotel at about 10:30 a.m. and knocked on the door to his room, but there was no answer.
She went downstairs and left a note. And, he'd only talked to her like half an hour before. It was quite strange.
Just before noon on November 22nd, a hotel maid entered Michael's room and found his lifeless, naked body lying behind the door.
It was a lonely time for him, and when people would criticize that the music may not be up to par or Michael may not be looking as sexy as usual, it just left him very sad. You know, it left him very confused. And he needed friendships. He needed people to talk to, and he could talk for hours on the phone.
He used to ring me up from like Phoenix at 3 o'clock in the morning after they'd played, and he was really lonely, and he'd say, I'm really lonely. And it's a pretty good indication that you're losing touch with the people around you as well. Very drunk, and they were out and they got some takeaway food, and he was standing in the middle of a little cobbled street that, you know, traffic uses, and this cab came along and he refused to move. You know, he just wanted to eat his food, and he was being a bit of a dickhead, obviously. And the cab driver got out of his car and pushed him, and he fell over and smacked his head on the curb.
Michael was hurt, but friends say he waited weeks before he saw a doctor. When he finally sought treatment, Michael was told terrible news. As a result of the blow, his senses of taste and smell were greatly diminished, and he would never regain them.
He, the big wine connoisseur, you know, couldn't taste. He couldn't taste anything. You know, I won't get to what he really couldn't taste, which was really bothering him, you know, being the Michael Hutchence that I know, but it bothered him a great deal. And sense of smell, smelling a woman, it was like he was a very sensual person, and those kind of things affected him deeply.
I find it really sad that somebody who has access to the best in the world, the finest in the world, it doesn't mean anything more to them because they can't taste or smell it. He was very irritable, and I think he started on Prozac as a result of that accident.
He became, in my own opinion, more depressed at times than he ever would before. Things seemed to get him down more than normally.
With Michael and Paula's affair now public, Bob Geldof filed for divorce from Paula Yates, his wife of 10 years, and with whom he had fathered 3 daughters. Then Paula moved into Michael's London flat.
I think he was reaching out for that family life and that stability that kids could bring you, and he fell in love with the kids.
Paula and Bob Geldof's divorce became final in May of '96. The question that remained was who would get custody of their 3 young children. Michael publicly supported Paula's fight to win custody of the kids. On July 22, 1996, Paula gave birth to a baby girl they called Heavenly Harani Tiger Lily.
You can't fight nature, just come, you know, suddenly there's children there, whatever it does to you, you either think you're ready for it or whatever, but I love it, I'm loving it, you know. It's the first time I've been this unselfish in my life, I think, so I'm really enjoying it, you know.
You can always see that he's got a really beaming smile on his face, and that Tiger really meant a lot to him, you know.
The most cowardly act, just a cop-out. You know, for a man with a family to think about deliberately, you know, dying, he would have just thought that was awful. Did her up, and it was that sort of triumphant moment with this baby. And it was great. It was the best. It was the best day of our lives, both of us. He said it was better than doing Wembley.
That's something.
You know, and I don't want people to take that away from her, you know, that she had a father that really adored her.
Among the many hurtful things Paula has had to read since Michael's death are reports claiming Michael had never wanted this child. After months of private grieving, she wants to set the record straight.
We had a year of fertility treatment, so obviously our doctor was able to confirm all of that. In fact, our doctor never really forgot our fertility treatment because Michael was one of the few people that, you know, he was led into the cubicle with the pile of penthouse and in fact had to go home.
But he wanted the child so much
that
together you went through that.
Yeah, we did.
Paula says, although Michael was deeply depressed at the end, Tiger was his great joy, his very reason to live.
And Michael just couldn't believe what it was like living with a baby, especially a baby this...
Yeah. Tina, can I ask, do you believe that Michael Hutchence killed himself, or do you think that he died in an accident gone wrong?
He killed himself. I mean, you know, he was so enraged that he could not get around he had a child in London. He didn't want to live in London. It was very difficult for him living there. The press was just terrible to him. The British press decided he was the bad guy, Bob was the good guy.
Coroner ruled Michael's death a suicide.
There's three ways Michael died. Michael was killed, Michael killed himself, or Michael died by accident. And I've kind of, even though I've heard so many theories and conspiracies about all three, I don't think Michael killed himself. It was an accident.
Michael did kill himself. Michael did hang himself. That's a sad, horrible fact about this. Got himself into an area where he was very unhappy and didn't know where he was heading with it and couldn't stop trashing himself to see through the haze.
I know he thought suicide was dumb. He didn't buy into it at all. I had conversations with him about Kurt Cobain, saying how sad is that, you know, that Kurt Cobain has gone from the world, and he was angry about that. So I find it hard to imagine that Michael took his own life. It doesn't really fit in with my picture of him.
There's only two people in the world who will actually know what happened that night, and that's Michael and God, and the rest is speculation.
On November 18th, 1997, Michael Hutchence returned to Australia for the last leg of INXS's 20th anniversary tour. He was looking forward to spending the Christmas holidays in Sydney with Paula, her daughters, and Tiger Lily. They were due to fly down to Australia in the next few days, pending the outcome of Paula's latest round of custody hearings with Bob Geldof. Michael seemed surprisingly relaxed at the time.
He was excited about finishing this tour so that he could do his own thing finally. He was really excited about his album.
He had his eye on acting, and he told me when he got to Sydney, you know, on that last trip, that he'd won a small part in a Tarantino movie, and he was just over the top about this.
Michael and the band spent the afternoon of November 21st rehearsing in a small Sydney studio. Later, Michael, his father Kel, and his stepmother Susie went out for a peaceful dinner.
He seemed very happy, actually. I mean, we had a very, very lovely evening together. It was a bright, jolly evening with Mike in great form. I mean, in hindsight, I probably now realise that he was covering a lot. I think he was, actually, but he left us in a great... We dropped him back to the Ritz-Carlton, and he even danced away from the car, you know, waving.
That night at around 11 p.m., Michael invited two friends up to his room for some drinks. He was waiting for a call from Paula about the outcome of the custody hearings and wanted to be near his phone. A few hours later, he got a phone call from Martha Traup in New York.
He sounded fabulous. And then we talked about January, and he said, now don't forget, you gotta take care of this solo album. We gotta work on it. We want to finish it.
The lead singer of top Australian band INXS found dead at Sydney's Ritz-Carlton Hotel at Double Bay. The emergency call came just before 1 o'clock. Police told that a prominent personality had been found dead in his suite.
The phone rang, and I was in the den then, and I lifted up, and this reporter said, would you like to comment about Michael? And I said, what do you mean, the tour or what? He said, oh, and he hung up. And I just went cold, and I thought, God, what was that all about? Oh, there's been an accident or something. And just as I left the room there was a knock at the front door, and the police came. I just couldn't believe it. Terrible. Terrible shock.
Then all at once, the studio called me on one line, and the tour manager called me on the other line and said he was dead. And then I was home with the band, and I heard on the radio how he had died. And I think I kind of passed out. You know, I lost a part of me. I think, you know, it just like, why wasn't I there with him? You
to always think that.